Imagine staying up all night at the wildest party, then playing basketball better than anyone the next day. It sounds impossible, right? Well, one player did exactly that, and he didn't just play well, he became MVP. But what if I told you his secret was something you would never expect? James Edward Harden Jr. was born on August 26, 1989 in Los Angeles, California. He grew up in a part of the city called Compton, which in the 1990s was a tough neighborhood with a lot of crime. James's father, a former Navy seaman, wasn't around much, so James was largely raised by his mother, Manja Willis, along with his sister and brother. Manja was a strong and caring mom who kept James focused and out of trouble despite the dangerous environment, guiding him to make good choices. One of those good choices was sports. In fact, James's first love wasn't basketball at all, it was baseball. As a kid, James was a left-handed pitcher and a first baseman, and he was pretty good at it. However, around the age of 10, James discovered basketball and fell in love with the game.
Well, my oldest son played football, so I gave him a choice: basketball, football, baseball, whatever. I just wanted them to be active in sports. So he chose football, and then James originally he was playing. Well, he was in the driveway shooting the basketball. That's where he started, but he didn't want to do the fundamentals. So we went on to baseball. So he played baseball for about 3 or 4 years, and then he came to me and said he was ready for basketball. So he's been doing it ever since.
Young James started playing on a local youth team in the Watts area of LA, and that's where his passion of basketball took off. He even had a basketball hoop on his garage at home so he could practice anytime. From then on, basketball became his main focus. There's a famous story about a note he wrote to his mom when he was in middle school. The note said, quote, "Could you wake me up at 7 and could you leave me a couple of dollars? P.S. Keep this paper. I'ma be a star." James even signed his name on the note, almost like giving himself an autograph as a future star. At the time, he was only 12 years old, and this little note really shows how sure he was about his future. He truly believed he would become a big basketball star, and he was right. But the journey wasn't easy. As a young teen, James faced some challenges. He had asthma, which sometimes made it hard for him to breathe while running, and he wasn't very muscular or strong yet. And at one point, he was just about 6 feet tall. Not short, but not the giant you might expect for a future NBA player. He practiced early every morning in the gym to get better, and over time, he grew taller, eventually reaching 6'5", and he also got in better shape. His asthma became under control as he trained harder, and by the time he was in high school, all those early mornings and drills had paid off. James Harden attended Artesia High School in Lakewood, California. He quickly became the star of the team. By his junior and senior years, he led them to back-to-back state championships. In both of those seasons, he averaged almost 19 points per game for his team, which was an impressive stat for a teenager. Fans and coaches around the country began to notice his talent, and he was selected as a McDonald's All-American in 2007, which means he was picked as one of the top high school players in the nation, and this was a big honor. Even though he was clearly gifted, his coaches still had to push him at times. James had a laid-back personality, and one funny story shows how his coach motivated him. James's high school coach wanted him to be more aggressive and drive to the basket to get fouled. To encourage this, the coach made a deal with James. For every 6 free throws James attempted in a game, the coach would buy him a cheeseburger. It sounds silly, but it worked. With the promise of cheeseburgers as a reward, James started attacking the basket much more, and he got to the free throw line often, especially learning how to draw fouls, which was a skill that would become very useful in his future. By the end of high school, James Harden was one of the most celebrated young players in America. He had 2 state titles, a McDonald All-American nod, and even won a national AAU championship with his travel team in 2006. Colleges all over the country were recruiting him. Eager for him to join their programs, James had his pick of top schools and ultimately chose to attend Arizona State University for college. At Arizona State, he immediately made a big impact on the basketball team. As a freshman in the 2007 to 2008 season, James averaged 18 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists per game, which were outstanding numbers for a college freshman. He even led the Pac-10 conference in steals that year, showing his defense was strong too. He earned a spot on the All-Pac-10 first team and the All-Freshman team in his first year. In other words, he was one of the best players in the conference right away. By his second year in 2008 to 09, James Harden was the best college player on the West Coast. He averaged about 20 points and 4 assists per game and was named the Pac-10 Player of the Year, which was the highest honor in his conference. He was also recognized as a consensus All-American, meaning all the experts agreed he was one of the top college players in the entire country. James had led Arizona State to 25 wins and into the NCAA tournament. After the season, James made a big decision. Rather than stay in college for 2 more years, he would enter the NBA draft and go pro. He had achieved so much in 2 college seasons that the NBA was calling his name. In the 2009 NBA draft, the Oklahoma City Thunder selected James Harden with the 3rd overall pick. Being the number 3 pick in the draft was a big deal, and it meant the Thunder saw him as a future star. Upon joining joining the Thunder, James was just 20 years old and entering a team that already had two young phenoms, Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook. The Thunder were building a powerhouse of young talent, and James Harden was the newest piece of that puzzle. In his rookie season, James didn't start games. Instead, he was the first player off the bench, a role which is known as the sixth man. He provided instant scoring and energy when he entered games, and he played 76 games that year and averaged about 10 points per game. Pretty solid for a rookie adjusting to the NBA. His performance earned him a spot on the NBA All-Rookie second team, meaning he was recognized as one of the best rookies in the league. He kept improving rapidly, and by the 2011 season, James was averaging nearly 17 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists per game off the bench. He was a key reason the Thunder were becoming championship contenders. That season, the Oklahoma City Thunder went on an exciting playoff run. They made it all the way to the NBA Finals in 2012. The Thunder's young trio of Durant, Westbrook, and Harden faced off against the Miami Heat, led by LeBron James in the finals. James Harden was only 22, and he was playing on the biggest stage in basketball. The Thunder ultimately lost the finals in 5 games to Miami, which was disappointing, but simply reaching the finals was a huge accomplishment for such a young team. During that season, Harden also became the NBA's Sixth Man of the Year.
James Harden won the 2011-12 Kia NBA Sixth Man Award as the league's best player in a reserve role.
Being drafted the 3rd overall pick, most guys would come in and think they're going to be a starter on any team, but this team is definitely something special, especially with all the talent that was already here, and Scottie did a great job of making me become that sixth man off the bench, and helping me, figure my role out. At first, as a rookie, I didn't get it. I just thought I was going to go in there and score and just do all the things that every other player thought. But learning 3 years it took me to embrace that role, just doing whatever it takes to win the game. And Scottie really embraced that and put that into my head. So I really appreciate him for that.
And on top of all of that, James Harden became an Olympic gold medalist. He was selected for the United States national basketball team at the 2012 London Olympics, and Team USA won the gold medal there. Imagine being 22 years old and already having an Olympic gold medal. And around this time, James Harden also started gaining fame for his look. In the NBA, he had been growing a long, full beard, and he didn't trim it. That beard became his signature style. Fans loved it, and he earned the nickname The Beard because it was so recognizable.
Obviously, the beard. Was that done intentionally? Did that's kind of become like a signature trademark? It actually helps you stand out, I think, in the league. Did that intentionally, or it was just something that you just randomly just
a young boy that just was happy to get facial hair. I was a young boy that was just happy to get facial hair, and just, it was kind of a thing. Then I was 20, 21, so having a beard, you feel like you're older, like you're a grown man, you know what I mean? Start getting more vibes, you know what I mean? Start getting more attention. The Cheetos on me a little more.
After the 2012 finals run, the Thunder wanted to keep Harden, but they were concerned about budget and contracts. The team offered James Harden a solid contract, which is about $55 million for 4 years, but it wasn't as high as he thought he deserved. In late October 2012, just before the next season, the Thunder made a surprising move. They traded James Harden to the Houston Rockets. James was sad to leave his teammates Durant and Westbrook, who were not just teammates, but friends. Moving to the Houston Rockets in 2012 turned James Harden from a supporting player into the main star of a team. The Rockets put the ball in James's hand and built the offense around him. He went from playing around 31 minutes a game in OKC to playing heavy minutes every night in Houston. In his very first game for Houston, Harden made a statement. He scored 37 points along with 12 assists, showing that he could be the go-to guy.
Hasek taps it outside of Jeremy Lin. Look out, they're on the run. Harden lays it in. Results in a takeaway. Linda Harden on the run, and he converts. Harden now gets into the screen, sticks it, goes downtown.
For the 2012 season, James averaged 26 points, which is more than double what he averaged in his last season with the Thunder. He also averaged 6 assists and 5 rebounds. He was immediately recognized as one of the top guards in the league, and James earned his first NBA All-Star selection that year, meaning he was chosen to play in the NBA All-Star game among the league's elite players. And James made a huge impact on the game. You can't forget about his signature move, the step-back three-pointer, the skill of drawing fouls, and then you can't forget flopping. We already know about that. But by 2017, Harden had established himself as one of the top players in the NBA. But the 2017 to 2018 season was James Harden's masterpiece. Everything came together that year. The Houston Rockets, with the addition of veteran star Chris Paul, had the best record in the entire NBA, winning 65 games, which was a franchise record, and he led the league in scoring, averaging 30.4 points per game. He also averaged 8.8 assists and 5.4 rebounds. Nearly every night, he was putting up huge numbers and leading the Rockets to victory. He had a stretch of 32 consecutive games, scoring 30 or more more points, which was the second longest such streak in NBA history. The only player to ever beat that is Wilt Chamberlain. Fans will tune in each game wondering how many points will James Harden really score tonight. And on January 30th, 2018, James Harden achieved something historic. He recorded the first ever 60-point triple-double in NBA history. In a game against the Orlando Magic, Harden scored 60 points, 10 rebounds, and 11 assists.
As he goes to the basket again, lays it up and in. So if they continue, as I said, like with Harden, a one-man gang. Look at the three guys guarding Harden. Puts it up and in anyway. Hezonja and Harden. Harden steps back, fires. Go! James Harden is the new scoring one-game champion for the Houston Rockets, and Calvin Murphy on his feet.
It was a reminder that Harden could not only score like crazy, but also contribute in every facet of the game. At the NBA Awards show in June 2018, James Harden was named the most valuable player of the NBA for 2017 to 2018. Finally, he had won the league's top individual honor, after knocking on the door for several years, basically. But what you've all been waiting for had finally come, because while James Harden was building a Hall of Fame basketball career, he was also becoming famous for something else: his off-court lifestyle. James developed a reputation for enjoying the nightlife. He loves going out to clubs, hosting parties, and having a good time with his friends. Unlike some superstar athletes who might rest or stay home before games, Harden was often spotted at nightclubs. This side of his life made him a bit of a legend and earned him some criticism.
This is bad. This is not good for several reasons. And one of those reasons is that, one, if you're trying to get moved, like Vince said, then you have to be a professional, because not only do the Rockets have the keys and they don't have to trade you, but it's a turnoff to other organizations, because I've been hearing from multiple GMs that they're scared of trading for James Harden, and it has nothing to do with his own court what he does on the court is what he does off the court, and they're scared that if they trade him, that he's going to be a bad example in the locker room because of things like this.
But it's a big part of the James Harden story. By the time he was in Houston, stories of his late night parties were common. Houston is a city known for its vibrant club scene, and James definitely took part in it. In fact, there's a legend that a popular club in Houston retired James Harden's jersey by hanging it in their rafters because he spent so much time and money there. They did this as a testament to his VIP status off the court. A lot of people wondered, because how could Harden stay out so late and still play at an elite level? Well, Harden seemed to have an unusual stamina and the ability to play through fatigue. But despite all of this, the most important thing is that James Harden's on-court performance is through the roof. And yes, James Harden still enjoys the nightlife when he can. Even in Los Angeles, there have been sightings of him at big events or clubs on off nights. It's part of who he is. But now, with many years in the league, Harden balances it with the knowledge of a veteran, and as he aged, he's had to take even better care of his body to continue performing. He's spoken about diet changes and training routines to maintain his health.
I think it just at this point, just dieting is proper rest, and then it just for me, I think just strengthening my muscles, gaining more muscle mass, which I've always had. And just the last year and a half really wasn't healthy enough to put the proper work in like I'm used to.
So will James Harden ever win a championship? That chapter is still being written. The Clippers and Harden are striving to win it all, and if he does, that would truly be the crowning achievement on an incredible career. So if you guys enjoyed the video, please drop a like and subscribe, as it means a lot, and YouTube thinks you're gonna like the video that's about to pop up, so click on it. Thank you for watching, and have a great rest of your day. And don't forget to like and subscribe, please, please, please. Bye.